Hi, my name is David Maurer. I'm director of Davis Library, and I am going to be reading today an excerpt from The Subtle Knife, which is the second book of a trilogy written by Philip Pullman. It's a book for young adults. It's been on the banned book list, I think, since they were written in the 90s, mainly because of Philip Pullman's desire to portray organized religion as maybe something that's not so good for mankind. He wrote it in reaction to C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, which was definitely written from a Christian perspective. He himself is a humanist, so that thread of organized religion being not so great kind of runs through all three books. So to set this up, there are two main characters so far in the series up to this point. They're two 12-year-olds, and this being a fantasy, they're traveling between universes on all kinds of adventures and stuff. The Magisterium is the authority, I guess you could probably call it the organized religion, that they seem to be bucking against throughout the first and second book. The one character, Will Perry, has been fighting a number of different people throughout the second book, and finds himself right now at the beginning of this passage fighting with an old man. He's trying to get free of this person, and so I think with that we'll begin with the reading. Will tried to pull away, and his feeble tug woke a response from the man whose hand hadn't loosened. But he was moving. He was feeling Will's right hand carefully with his free one. Will's hair stood on end. Then the man said, "Give me your other hand." "Be careful," said Will. The man's free hand felt down Will's left arm, and his fingertips moved gently over the wrist and onto the swollen palm, and with the utmost delicacy on the stumps of Will's two lost fingers. His other hand let go at once, and he sat up. "You've got the knife," he said. "You're the knife bearer." His voice was resonant, harsh, but breathless. Will sensed that he was badly hurt. Had he wounded his dark opponent? Will was still lying on the stones, utterly spent. All he could see was the man's shape crouching above him, but he couldn't see his face. The man was reaching sideways for something, and after a few moments a marvelous soothing coolness spread into his hand from the stumps of his fingers as the man massaged the salve into his skin. "What are you doing?" Will said. "Curing your wound. Keep still." "Who are you?" "I'm the only man who knows what the knife is for. Hold your hand up like that. Don't move." The wind was beating more wildly than ever, and a drop or two of rain splashed onto Will's face. He was trembling violently, but he propped up his left hand with his right while the man spread more ointment over the stumps and wound a strip of linen tightly around his hand. And as soon as the dressing was secure, the man slumped sideways and lay down himself. Will, still bemused by the blessed cool numbness in his hand, tried to sit up and look at him, but it was darker than ever. He felt forward with his right hand and found himself touching the man's chest, where the heart was beating like a bird against the bars of a cage. "Yes," the man said hoarsely. "Try and cure that. Go on. Are you ill?" "I'll be better soon." "You have the knife, yes?" "Yes." "And you know how to use it?" Yes, but are you from this world? How do you know about it?" "Listen," said the man, sitting up with a struggle. "Don't interrupt. If you're the bearer of the knife, you have a task that's greater than you can imagine." "A child. How could they let that happen?" "Well, so it must be. There is a war coming, boy. The greatest war there ever was. Something like it happened before, and this time the right side must win. We've had nothing but lies and propaganda and cruelty and deceit for all the thousands of years of human history. It's time we started again, but properly this time." He stopped to take in several rattling breaths. "The knife," he went on after a minute. They never knew what they were making, those old philosophers. They invented a device that could split open the very smallest particles of matter, and they used it to steal candy. They had no idea that they'd made the one weapon in all the universes that could defeat the tyrant, the authority, the God. The rebel angels fell because they didn't have anything like the knife. But now, I didn't want it. I don't want it now, Will cried. If you want it, you can have it. I hate it. I hate what it does. Too late. You haven't any choice. You're the bearer. It's picked you out. And what's more, they know you've got it. And if you don't use it against them, they'll tear it from your hands and use it against the rest of us forever and ever. But why should I fight them? I've been fighting too much. I can't go on fighting. I want to... Have you won your fights? Will was silent. Then he said, Yes, I suppose. You fought for the knife? Yes, but then you're a warrior. That's what you are. Argue with anything else, but don't argue with your own nature. Will knew the man was speaking the truth, but it wasn't a welcome truth. It was heavy and painful. The man seemed to know that because he let Will bow his head before he spoke again. There are two great powers, the man said, and they've been fighting since time began. Every advance in human life, every scrap of knowledge and wisdom and decency we have, has been torn by one side from the teeth of the other. Every little increase in human freedom has been fought over ferociously between those who want us to know more and be wiser and stronger, and those who want us to obey and be humble and submit. And now those two powers are lining up for battle, and each of them wants that knife of yours more than anything else. You have to choose, boy. We've been guided here, both of us, you with the knife and me to tell you about it.